Podcast New York.
What's up, Dueling Decades? This is Wax. Peace to all you guys, and thanks for having me on the show. Will it be the 90s or the 80s? Beanie Babies or Crack Babies? Will it be Nirvana or Madonna? Maybe Britney, maybe Whitney. Do you like new metal or new wave? Dave Grohl or Super Dave? I don't know. But now the battle begins. Dueling Decades. Let's see who wins.
Dueling Decades.
All right, we're going to try. I'm seeing sound. It sound extra Stacy. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. I don't know. There's no reason that there shouldn't be sound. Oh. Just give me 1 second. They hear me. Why don't they hear you guys? You guys are special too. Yeah. I don't know. There's no reason that there shouldn't be sound. All right. We're doing some audio properties things. Everything's good. They hear me. Why don't they hear you? Okay. I think I've got a... Everybody speak to me. Speak for me. Yeah, it's going to the stream output. It's... Oh, what a pain in the ass. I'm sorry, guys. Wavelength stream, that's all good. Output. You should. Son of a bitch. I'm gonna go. There you go. Yeah, you do that. I'm gonna put in a new audio setting because there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting that. They shouldn't be getting this. Okay, you guys talk.
Hello. They can hear Joe.
Hello. Can you hear me, Joe?
I was always able to hear you. Now I'm just trying.
Anybody? They hear Joe.
Okay, you guys talk. There you guys go. I don't know why that happened, but it...
Can you hear me now?
Is this better?
It is better. God knows what that was, because I literally just hooked up the thing that's already there, but let's get back to it. Apologies, guys.
Starting over!
Okay.
See, one person likes my hair.
top?
We already win.
Yeah, just go ahead. Kick it off.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, Joe.
I am ready whenever you are.
All right. I'll just restart
Stacy
the
says
intro.
that we're faint. How faint are we?
I don't know. Like, I have you guys turned literally all the way up.
Power Glove 79 says we're good.
Yeah, like
My
you
levels
guys,
on my
your
recording
levels
look all right.
and your levels look great here.
All right. Everyone says
Okay.
we're good. So
All right, we're good. We apologize,
great.
guys. Let's do this again. So
shit happens.
Drew, just go right into you, like Mark just pitched to you.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Drew.
Well, actually, just start over because they don't even know what years we have or anything.
That's true.
Right.
They couldn't hear Mark.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Do you want me to go right back to the opening?
Yeah. Hit
No,
the
just
opening. No.
just start. Just start.
Just to Mark. Okay. Back to Mark.
All right. Broadcasting from the Podcast New York studios, it's the all-new Dueling Decades, the adult-only retro game show where the decades battle for supremacy because it's your history. We just fight for it. I am Mark James, and this week we marvel at the miraculous May Duel, where I will be competing with May of 1984 alongside the other duelers in the decades they will be fighting for. First off, swinging back to the 70s, say hello to Man Crush.
What's up? Take two is always the best. Correct. What I said before, yes, I have May of 1974, but do us a favor. I noticed nobody did it because they couldn't hear me before. But go ahead and hit the like button. I know it's redundant, but we got to do this. Hit like, hit subscribe, drop a comment, make fun of us. We don't care. The more we have, the more people come into the chat and watch this. So please do that for us if you can. But yeah, I'm coming to bat with May of 1974.
Also joining us on the panel and bringing the 411 from the 90s, it's the Professor, Drew Zachman.
What's up, everybody? It is me, Drew, from Songs Gone Wrong, and I am talking about May of 1994, which is actually when I peaked, and it's all been downhill ever since.
And as always here on the show, we need somebody to adjudicate all of this awesomeness. Back behind the bench this week is the man who is battling the Burger King and the King of Donair for the title of the one true king. He is the Media King of the North. All rise and welcome Judge Joe Findlay.
Are we ready to do this, guys? I know
Yes,
that most
sir.
of what just happened is technically my fault because I'm also the producer of this thing.
Blame YouTube.
But
It's fine.
Look, I do blame YouTube because, like, honest to God, the two things I'm not going to get into it. This is my own personal bitch sesh. Let's have a fun game. I'm going to keep it fair. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest will be held under Dueling Decades rules. The judges' coin flip shall decide who picks first out of the 5 Dueling Decades categories: movies, television, music, news, and hot products. A judge's ruling will determine who wins each round, allowing the victor to choose the next available category. The first 3 rounds are worth 1 point each, with rounds 4 and 5 worth 2 points apiece. And in the event of a tie after all 5 rounds, we will go to a final wild card round. Remember, duelers, to review the show, listen, subscribe, and play along at home. It's time for more Dueling Decades. All right, so this week the coin toss will be between myself and Drew Zachman. Drew, you got the honors this week. Why don't you call it?
I'm gonna. Well, what are we tossing off today?
All right. Well, I'm going to be tossing off. I noticed somebody said I had the lovemaking lights on, and seeing as this is a desk where I sit by myself, you're right.
Show
But
off the
today,
forearms.
I wanted to really bring the Media King of the North. The last couple of times I've judged, I used a digital app, and I didn't want to play that this time. So I went full Canadian, and I
Ooh.
brought a toonie to the
Toonie.
game.
All right.
All right. So the Queen's head, because, you know, is heads. The polar bear is tails, because we fucking hate ourselves. All right. Okay, guys. So you're going to call it in the air, right?
Yeah, I'm totally going polar bear on this one.
Polar bear. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I dropped it.
Oh shit.
No, we're fine. We're fine. It is Her Majesty. Heads it is.
Oh, that means
Fucking
I take
royalty.
control of the board, and I get to select our very first category. All right, gentlemen, you know what? Let's start off with the movies round.
Oh damn.
Ooh, wow.
All right, so I am so excited I have the opportunity to select this film and talk about it. We're just going to get it out of the way first. You know, in if Airplane, Friday the 13th, and Grease are the Man Crush 3, this movie is definitely one of my top 3 growing up. So I wanted a little retro perspective on it. So I dug up an original review and a first impression of the film. So let's go over to the Miami Herald, May 9th, 1984, for a review with the headline that says, Breakin', a happy streetwise musical. Breakin' is the first of what is likely to be a wave of movies about breakdancing in its several permutations. Lockin', poppin', hip hop, often to the narration of a DJ. And though Breakin' follows the flash dance formula as if it was blazoned in concrete and worked from a script that would make a 12-year-old snicker, it's exuberant and it's lighthearted. That works. For proper enjoyment, what you have to do is ignore the flash dance inspired story, which involves a series of painfully contrived plots developed when street dancers are repeatedly frustrated at the hands of Los Angeles street dance establishment. It is sufficient to treat the story as kind of filler in between the appearances of the men known as Shabba-Doo and Bugaloo Shrimp. When they are on the screen dancing, Breakin' has a special joy to it, and I couldn't agree more with that. Lucinda Dickey, an actress who can dance, she's an adequate foil for Shabba-Doo and Bugaloo, but it is they who can do the floor spins and their choreographed robot walks. Bugaloo Chambers is a wonderful comic touch as well. He is in near constant motion throughout the picture, and many of his best moves are used as throwaways instead of actual dialogue or punchlines. There's a splendid spirit and presence on the screen. Though Breakin' assumes a world which no one takes breakdancing seriously, one suspects that the filmmakers were last to get the word. If you can sit through this one without fighting back the urge to dance in the aisles, it's time for a checkup. So that's what they were originally saying about Breakin', and I kind of agree with them. That's why I always like the film. If you look at it, these are just a ragtag group of guys who they have nothing in life except their art, their dance. Kelly, on the other hand, she has absolutely everything, and she chooses to dance because it is just their passion. So with its May release date strategically placed in May of 1984 by Cannon, Breakin' was the first to the theaters, beating the Harry Belafonte-produced Beat Street by a whole month, and starting off the breakdancing craze of the 80s. So, guys, it's Breakin'. It's May 4th, 1984.
It's a good choice.
All right, Drew Zachman, over to you. What do you have for the movies round?
All right, so I had May of 1994, as I stated previously. So this one was actually based on a TV show from the late 50s and early 60s. It was a Western comedy. I actually thought it was pretty enjoyable to watch. I remember the first time I watched it, which wasn't actually until it came out on VHS, but I always thought it was a fun movie. Now, if you like Mel Gibson, then you probably like this movie, but you probably hate everybody else if you like Mel Gibson. But this flick starred Mel, Jodie Foster, and James Garner, who played the original title character in the TV series. And that title, in case you haven't figured it out already, is Maverick. And honestly, I love this movie. It's just like a fun flick to watch. It's about Maverick, who's a card player and con artist who is trying to collect money to enter a high-stakes poker game. And this movie basically kind of follows him along his adventures, or I guess misadventures. And Alfred Molina's in it too. James Coburn's in it. So a pretty good cast in this one. One thing I did not know was that Randy Newman actually did the music for this movie. I had no idea about that. Had I known that ahead of time, I probably would have never watched it, but I'm glad I didn't know because I watched it and I like it. So now I can actually give it a pass. It had a budget back then of $75 million and it raked in $183 million. Or Nick, in 2021 dollars, that equates to about 19.3 trillion yen. So I think it's a pretty good haul. And the film was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Costume Design. So I'm going with Brett Maverick, which came out in May of 1994, May 20th, 1994 to be precise.
Man, I wish Bo Beecraft was here, because if you listen to the episode a year ago when we had Robert Tepper on,
Yeah, I
he did a
remember that one. Yeah,
fantastic Randy Newman.
that was that cop show he was talking
Yeah,
about.
Cop Rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking genius.
That was hilarious. I was driving home. I'm pretty sure a Little P came out when that came on. I was cracking up the whole ride
That's
home.
just because you're getting old. That has
Well,
nothing
that
to do
too.
with laughing.
That too.
All right, Man Crush, what did you bring for the movies round?
All right, so let's go to May 24th of 1974. Let me just say this, like, the 70s are a different time for cinema. It's not a bad thing at all, but you have these pockets during the decade where the films are focused on one type of a movie or another. And a few months ago, I had March of 1977, back in March, obviously. And I came to bat with Airplane 77. And that was right in the midst of all the disaster films and the whole disaster film craze. But my personal favorite period during the 70s, it has to be like pre-1975. You literally have scores of exploitation movies during this period. If you could think of anything to exploit, they're just exploit it. I mean, there wasn't just one movie for that exploit. There would be a series of movies for that exploit. And I only bring this up because selecting a movie right here was extremely difficult for me, because I had 1974, not because there were a lack of movies, but because the amount of schlock was really hard to pass up. And Mike watched the movie today. I was going to pick this movie called The Teacher, about a teacher who seduces one of her students. I mean, I couldn't find a good copy of it. Otherwise, I probably would have picked that. With that being said, I went with a different type of popular movie of this time period, and that was road movies. So you had like Five Easy Pieces with Jack Nicholson, Two Lane Blacktop, Duel, The Getaway, Slither, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, which I could have picked here because it was released in May of 74, Gone in 60 Seconds. And honestly, there's dozens of movies that I'm leaving out here. That being said, I did go with a road film here. At the box office, this one brought in $22 million at the gate in 1974. And Drew, you'll like this one. It brought in $120 million in 2021.
It's good to
No
hear.
yen. We're going all US. So this one, it actually did get considered for an Oscar. It had some Oscar buzz around it. You had a young Jeff Bridges being nominated for Best Actor in a supporting role. Unfortunately, he lost out to Robert De Niro for Godfather 2. I mean, it is what it is. Coincidentally, this movie right here was supposed to be directed by Clint Eastwood, but they ended up going with a virgin director on this one, the writer of the film, Michael Cimino, who went on to write and direct Deer Hunter. So not too shabby on that one. Obviously, like I mentioned, Clint Eastwood, so he stars in this as well. It's probably the most relaxed role of Clint Eastwood that I've ever seen in my life. He's still got that classic Eastwood like stoicism, which you expect from him, but every time you think that he's just going to bitch slap somebody for saying something, he doesn't. But don't worry, he still throws down fisticuffs in this movie. He's not Harry Callahan. But, you know, here's the other thing. Like, what 70s movie is not complete without George Kennedy? And I think this is the third time I've picked a 70s movie where George Kennedy's in it. Of course, Airplane 77, like I mentioned before, Earthquake, and this one. And I think there might have been one more, but I just can't remember anymore. So if you're in the mood for anti-heroes, car chases, bank heists, cross-dressing, big guns, fist fights, rural Montana, pistachio ice cream cones, midnights at the drive-in, double crosses, guys named Red, unexpected endings, and a very, very early Gary Busey, and stories that would never, ever take place, with the inception of the interwebs, and go out and pick yourself a copy of Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. And I mentioned that part about the internet. I don't want to give away spoilers if you want to go watch this, but if they had the internet, there would be no story. It would be over in like 5 minutes. Like, oh, that's where it is. Oh, done. But 1974, shit's simpler.
All right, let's throw it up to Judge Joe Findlay for the ruling on the movies round.
Oh man, it's a tough one. Very different movies being kind of brought to me, and not one that was like a real like punch in the face, like huge movie. Maverick was a fun movie. I remember going to see it back in the day. Good cast. It was that fun version of Mel Gibson that, you know, often gets overshadowed by the less fun version of Mel
He was so
Gibson.
happy back then.
He was so happy back then. Everybody seemed cool.
That we knew.
But
Till they took
but
his
man,
kid.
it's good, but it's just I don't know, like of all the Mel Gibson joints, as it were, I don't know if it's the one that gets me the most excited. And then you have Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. There's a lot of things in there. I think where you may have lost me, Man Crush, is when you said, so if you're looking for, and in your list you included rural Montana. Who the fuck's looking for rural Montana?
It's a road film, dude. Where are you gonna go?
I know. It's just very funny. It's like, if you're looking for something, probably rural
Hey,
Montana,
the scenery
right, ladies?
is amazing.
But
It's amazing. Lakes, mountains.
Hey, I've been to Montana. I've been through Montana.
Have you really?
More
I haven't.
accurately. I went through a bunch of states very quickly while I slept in the back of my grandparents' van. But that's neither here nor there. I have to go with the one, though, that to me is the most indicative of its decade in this scenario. As like one doesn't really like just jump out to me. I gotta go with Breakin'. It is the one that is it screams 80s, whereas like Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, it's like, does it, like, it's obviously 70s, but does it scream 70s? Does the other one, does Maverick scream?
When was the last time you saw a
90s?
road film?
Well, I've seen plenty of road films.
Fast and Furious doesn't count.
Ugh.
It sure as shit
Don't
does.
Don't make me puke.
That's a short road, bro.
Oh, short. And the 10th or the 9th one's coming out.
I live my life.
Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Quarter mile at a
Seconds
time.
Yeah. Quarter mile at a time.
Yeah. See,
For
if
those
you
10
did that-
seconds or less, I'm free.
You did that in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Now you've got, instead of Vin Diesel, you've got Clint Eastwood going, I live my life 275 miles at a time. Get off my lawn. That's right. I bring the impressions too.
It's only a matter of time before Clint actually shows up in the Fast and Furious. I mean, his son's in it, for crying out loud.
Yeah. He might just wander on stage.
He
Let's
might.
hope. How old is he now? Like 90? Seriously.
Oh,
He's spry. He's a spry 90 something, I think.
I think he is. Hey, that actually works out perfectly that Mark took that round. We're going to do our first giveaway at the end of the round. So this is the way we're going to work it for everybody here. Not many people watching right now, so you have a pretty good chance of grabbing this thing. The first one that we have up is a Star Wars nesting doll set from The Force Awakens.
That's awesome.
This is how we're going to do it. Mark is going to write down a number. Mark, if you write down a number between, we only have 7 people in here, so write down a number between 1 and 10. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's do it 1 and 20. And we'll go with the closest person in the chat. Mark's going to fold that number up and he's going to hold it. So you know he's not cheating. All right. There's that number. If you want to get in on this, put a number between 1 and 20. The closest person to that number will win this. Just message me after this. Let's see what we get. So go ahead and post them in the chat.
Hit us with those numbers. They will be waiting a second. There was a little.
Okay, we
bit
got
of
a
lag
13, we got an 11, we got an 8. Please don't vote more than once. I'll throw that out there.
Yeah. And is this a
We got a
Price is Right
17.
rules? Closest without going over?
Oh, just closest in general. Like, we'll see
Okay.
how close they are. We'll decide that when we have that issue. We only got 4 people to put in numbers. Just 3 people watching that aren't going to do it. All right, so we got 13, 11, 8, and 17. What do you got, Mark?
3.
Number 3. So we're going SPM League. David Schultz.
All
You
right.
got some
He's a winner.
nesting dolls.
There we go.
You could hide your pot in there. Or your CBD or something. Just hit me up later, dude. I'll mail it out to you.
All right, guys. Well, I'm so excited I won that round. I pick up a point. I take control of the board. You know what? This might be the first thing Breakin' ever won. So, you know,
Maybe.
since we're talking about movies, let's go to the news round. So for my news, we're going to go to an article that was in newspapers across the country the first week of May 1984. It was announcing a special preview of an upcoming film. The headline read, Indiana Jones Helping Kids. Movie producer George Lucas and director Steven Spielberg are previewing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the Raiders of the Lost Ark sequel, in 19 cities on the eve of its May 23rd opening. The screenings will benefit a variety of causes involving children's diseases and charities. It's George and Steve's way of giving back to the kids, said a Lucasfilm spokesperson, who added that none of the stars are actually expected to appear at any of the benefits. Now, the article does say that it's a sequel, but the movie, of course, is actually a prequel, having taken place the year before Indy's squabble with all those Nazis. So it's the debut of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which would get its worldwide release on May 23rd, 1984. But the night before, they held a special charity preview. And this is a tradition that would actually carry on, and they continue raising money for children's charities well into when they did all the new Star Wars movies as well. So Temple of Doom would go on to sell an estimated 53.5 million tickets in the United States. So how do you compare that to today? I just couldn't figure it out. So I wanted to compare something else from 1984 to kind of give you a little bit of perspective on just how popular Indiana Jones was at the time. So I compared it to the upcoming 1984 presidential election. So Indiana Jones sold 53.5 million tickets. Now, Walter Mondale, the Democratic nominee, only got 37.5 million votes. Now, of course, Ronald Reagan won this election, and the most lopsided election we've ever had, with 54.5 million votes. So Indiana Jones actually almost could have beaten Ronald Reagan for president, is basically what it boils down to. That's how popular Indiana Jones. That's a lot of tickets sold. Almost as many votes as Ronald Reagan got for president. And in case you're wondering, the chilled monkey brains, those were actually made from custard and raspberry sauce. Hey, it's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It is an absolutely fantastic film. It is a gem of our youth. And you know, the fact that they went out there and raised money for kids, that's kind of cool too. So that's what I got from my news story. Raising money for kids. Go Indy.
I like how you shit on Mondale right after he died.
I
think it was just like last week. Way to go.
All hail Vice President Short Round.
I would totally vote for Indiana Jones. You kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hell yeah.
Well, he was a president. And
That's right.
That's true.
Get off my plate.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, that would explain a lot of the things in that movie if it really was Indiana Jones.
There you go.
All right, Drew Zachman, what did you bring for the news round?
So for mine, I'm going with it's kind of a big deal, but for the first time in the history of South Africa, a black leader was elected as the head of state. So the great Nelson Mandela, after serving. What?
This is like the 17th time.
Broken record, Drew
Mandela.
Zachman. I'm changing his nickname.
I've only used Nelson Mandela once before, I think.
Like 4 times.
4 times.
No. It's you know what? It's a big deal. The guy did a lot. And you know what? Next time I'm on, I'm going to fucking bring him up again. I don't even care. I'm gonna like look in like his archives, like the Nelson Mandela archives, and whatever. Like it could be the week experience. I don't care. I will find something he did that week in like 1973. He was probably sitting in a jail cell back then, but I will find out what he did in that jail cell, and I will fucking bring it in for my news round. How about that? I stan Nelson. All right.
What's the difference from what you're doing now?
I haven't had the 70s yet. I think that's probably why. Whatever. He was elected as the president of South Africa. Whatever. Next.
Just go back to the last episode where you talked about it. You can hear all the details.
No, that was the thing. That was probably that was a while ago. I think it wasn't that recent.
That's like
he won a Nobel Peace Prize. Did you ever win a Nobel Peace Prize?
You probably brought that one up. It's like your Nelson
I
Mandela was like the Princess Di of 2019 for us. Where it just kept coming up. It was like, God, just retire already.
Yeah, 2019, man, we had so many Princess Di picks come up that
I got
year.
yelled
That
at one time.
Yeah. He was like, too much. No, that's a loss.
Oh, fantastic! But it is worth bringing up Nelson Mandela. I mean, he is somebody that deserves a lot of respect. So
He only fought racism.
yeah,
No big
that's all.
deal.
No.
Helped raise a lot of money to
Yeah, he
combat
did a great
poverty
job.
and AIDS. Hey, he tried.
He tried. I have all the love for him for trying.
Trying to fight poverty and HIV and AIDS through his foundation. So
I give Mark props for that because usually that's something that I would be like, dude. And Mark did it.
You're growing on me, Man Crush. What can I say? All right, Man Crush, what did you bring for the news round?
All right, well, I am going to the 70s. So let's go May 2nd, 1974. And
what did Nelson do in his jail cell that day?
I don't know. I didn't look that one up. But however, in May 1974, it's plagued with countless articles about Watergate and Richard Nixon. However, like those stories, that's all Drew Zachman right there. It's not for me. So I kept digging through newspapers.com and I stumbled on a bunch of stories about the World Football League. And if you weren't aware, the World Football League was one of the first startups to challenge the NFL's reign at the time. Now, when it was all said and done, the World Football League was a colossal failure. It was a dumpster fire of extraordinary proportions. If no one's done a documentary about it yet, they should certainly look into it. But I'm not going to dive too deep into the World Football League. But I will say that it was so bad that teams moved their franchises to new cities during the season. Like not just one, like multiple teams did that. And there was an owner that was financing his team and paying the payroll by selling cocaine. And he got arrested afterwards and all the shit. So there's all kinds of gems that come out of that story. However, I'm going to go with something that has a bit more legs here. Dave, you'll like that one. So here's a quick summary of an article that was titled New Rules of Blessing by Larry Stevenson. And he says, without a single down taking place as of yet, the World Football League has already experienced some alleged theft at the hands of the National Football League. The World Football League hollered robbery yesterday, claiming that the most of the new innovations unwrapped by the NFL were indeed heisted from the World Football League's rule book that was released the month prior. Even though they clearly stole some of these changes from the World Football League, and we'll get into those in a second, everyone, including the author of this article, because I read different articles about how boring the NFL was at the time, everyone was super pumped that the NFL was starting these rule changes. Apparently, during this period in the early 70s, the NFL product was just stagnant. Like everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? There were games that ended in ties. The goalposts were literally on the field of play. There were hardly any kick returns because kickers were booting the ball into the stands from the 40-yard line. And the teams that were playing, they were playing like this conservative midfield game that was predictable. Larry Stevenson himself in this article, he's quoted as saying this: anytime my mother can sit in front of a television and accurately predict what the play coming up is, she might've been watching Adam Gase, I don't know. But she said, and the next play coming up in the Super Bowl, it's time for them to go back to the drawing board. And that is exactly what they did, because they stole the following rules from the World Football League. 1, there's no more ties. Kissing your sister is a thing of the past. They're introducing the sudden death rule, still being utilized. The second one, the goalposts are now being moved off the field. They're being moved to the back of the end zone, still being used. Now, this one's important. If you miss a field goal outside of the 20-yard line, the opposing team will get the ball at the yard line, like your yard line, like wherever it happens to be. At the time, if you missed a field goal over 20 yards, it just defaulted to the 20-yard line, the opposing team's 20-yard line. So that was pretty shitty. Like people were just trying to bang 60-yard field goals and they'd be like, oh, it's almost like a punt. Take the ball, you're 20. The only thing that they've changed on that now, it's from the spot of the kick, but basically it's the same thing. And kickoffs, they move those back 5 yards. So they're now going to be taking place at the 35-yard line instead of the 40. So no more kicking the ball into the stands, which translates into more kick returns, which makes the game more exciting. And they're still doing that. So I give you some legs with that one. The NFL robs the World Football League and introduces some new rules. And they're still around, doing pretty damn well.
Wow. Fantastic. All right, Judge Joe Findlay, what is your verdict on the news round?
Well, first off, Drew, I love the or I feel for you only because I've been in the same situation. I don't think that people who don't do this show understand that it's tough sometimes. We don't all, if we're not on a string of episodes, we don't always catch everything that's been going on. And similar years or close years will come up, and somebody will be in the news for a long time. OJ was a big thing for this. Princess Di was a big thing for this. I got yelled at for Celine Dion. I got yelled at for a lot of things, but that's neither.
I think
here nor there.
I used to go with Bill Clinton. I feel like I've used Bill a few times.
Yeah, you have.
So Bill and Nelson, I think, are my two
He's
guys.
a lovely man.
Yes.
Now, if you can find a story with
Between
Bill
the two of
Clinton
them.
and Nelson Mandela together, instant win.
I'll work on
Synergy.
that.
I'll just keep hitting the points button until I run out. But I feel for you. I get it. But yeah, it is what it is. And then Mark, the Indiana Jones thing, it's cool. Not as meaty as of a news story. It's just, hey, we raise money. That's cool. I'm happy they raise money. Don't get me wrong, but it's better than like, Harrison Ford kicks a sick child in the nuts and then pushes short round.
It is better than that. I'll give you
Calls
that.
him a douchebag, but so it's much better, but it's fine. It's just movie comes out roughly on schedule and kids get money. But I'm gonna go with
It's a great summary.
it is. I'm going to go with Man Crush on this one because I just recently actually watched that documentary about the XFL where basically a lot of the same things were happening, where the NFL nabbed a lot of ideas. Basically, without the World Football League, the XFL, other places like that, the NFL wouldn't be the NFL that it is today. They've stolen a lot of stuff from them at the expense of these smaller leagues. So I give it to Nick.
And I didn't bring this up in this because I didn't think anybody gave a shit, because who cares about millionaires? But this is actually what got players to get paid, because they were getting paid nothing at the time. And when the World Football League came around, they were throwing out these big contracts, like guys like Larry Zonka at the end of their careers. And shit just got wild after that. So the NFL had to do the same thing. However, guys, I do have some more stuff to give away. However, since I won this round, Mark, will you do me the honors and write another number down? I got these. Apparently, these are collector's items. They're old Pez from the early 90s. I wouldn't eat these. I gave these out to somebody before, and they're keying out on my green screen. We got a snowman and some kind of Rudolph or some shit. Again, don't eat them. Maybe sell them on eBay. I don't care what you do with them, but yeah, let's do the same thing. Throw in a number between 1 and 20. Mark's going to write it. He's got it in his hand already. So go ahead and write that in the chat.
Now, putting up while they're writing down numbers, I'll put my producer hat on for a second. We're not responsible if you do eat them, but if you do, please get it on video and let us see what happens to you.
Call Josh McCouga, who was on an episode last year.
That's
Unfortunately, Eating History has been canceled. I had a discussion with Josh. Unfortunately, they canceled that show, which sucks because it was pretty damn awesome.
That was a fantastic
That was a great show.
If you want to reenact it, we're not telling you to, but if you do, record it.
Right.
It
Might
could
as
be that.
well, you know?
Yeah, I've eaten gum out of old packs. All right, so these are the numbers we got so far. We got an 11, 12, and 16. Anybody else?
15.
We're going to go and there's a 15. Oh, there's a 15. So let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, what do you got for the number there?
11.
Number 11. Stacy,
Stacy.
right on the dot.
Nailed it.
Stacy, just hit me up on Facebook. Just mail the www.facebook.com/dueling decades. You know how to send a message there, and I'll get your address and mail it out to you. All right.
All right, Man Crush, you picked up a point. You tie up this game. You take control of the board. Where are we going next, man?
All right, let's see if I do this right, because with live, it's a little bit different, but let's go television. You tell me when to go, Joe. All right.
Yeah,
there
you
we
go ahead.
All right, so let's go May 6th, 1974. And we've covered some like television network snafus on the show before, and you could file this one with the rest of those. So this show, it actually premiered in March of 1973 on CBS, and it was initially a ratings juggernaut. CBS aired this game show at 9:30 in the morning every day, and it was absolutely destroying the competition at the time. So at the same time, NBC was looking for a way to get back into the ratings game with their own game show, Jeopardy. And for years, Jeopardy was like one of the most watched game shows on television, but the ratings were starting to dip. So in December of 1973, NBC moved Jeopardy from their typical noon slot, where it had been for years, to a new time slot, 9:30 a.m. So with all the excitement of the move to 9:30, Jeopardy started to kill CBS's game show in that 9:30 slot. And after 3 months of their ratings sagging, CBS just decided to cancel the show altogether because that, it's only 3 months. Fuck, get rid of it, which is hilarious because NBC canceled Jeopardy in January of 1975. So it, like, you couldn't wait that out. Like, you didn't know that was going to happen. But it's just like a TV pick I had a couple months ago when I had Three's Company, where ABC swooped right in and they stole the show. On May 6th of 1974, on its new time slot at 2 p.m., Dick Clark hosts $10,000 Pyramid, or Pyramid as I like to call it, because it's gone from $10,000 to $20,000 to $25,000 to $50,000. And now it's $100,000 Pyramid. And over the years, it's crazy. It's gone all over the place. Like Pyramid, it switched from CBS to ABC, from ABC to syndication, back to CBS, then back to syndication, then to the Game Show Network, and now it's back on ABC again. So mark your calendars, because this one's got legs, Dave Schultz. May 26th is the season debut with Michael Strahan as the host now of the show. Listen, this is a captivating show. Mike Ranger and I were at Podcast New York Studios last night, and I told him I was going to pick Pyramid tonight. And we got stuck on a Pyramid rabbit hole, like for an hour straight, just watching these little clips of the show. If you've never watched a show before, it's basically, there's two teams, both comprised of a celebrity and a contestant. And each round, one player gets to select from one of 6 categories. And one of the contestants has 30 seconds to convey clues to the other contestant about whatever that item might be. And that contestant needs to guess as many as possible. It's simple, it's genius, and it's crack. Like if you watch one on YouTube, you just keep going. And the ones with Dick Clark are gold. We watched one last night where he was literally, the lady said something as the buzzer sounded, and he came running over and she thought she won. And he's like, nope. So go watch that video. It's fantastic. Everyone's heart is in their stomachs at that point. It's not quite as cool as Dueling Decade, but it is legit. But we got the premiere of Dick Clark's $10,000 Pyramid on ABC.
Wow. What's it going to be called this time? Like the 4 Bitcoin Pyramid?
1 Bitcoin. It's going to be Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, the one Dogecoin, rocket to the moon.
All right, Drew Zachman, what did you bring? All right, Drew Zachman, what did you bring for the television round?
All right, so this one was kind of a big deal. I remember watching it, but May 10th, NBC aired the inauguration of newly elected leader Nelson Mandela. And I'm just kidding.
I would have given you this round without even hearing Mark.
Oh, really? Damn it. I should have maybe researched that one more. But this one's actually a little this one's actually a little sad for me. So it actually marked the end of a show that my dad and I love watching. We love watching it so much. We actually have the DVD set. I have it right here. I'm talking about The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. I love that show. It only aired 27 episodes, which is very short, but holy shit, those 27, those episodes were glorious. The show starred the incomparable Bruce Campbell, who played the title character, who was a Harvard-educated lawyer who became a bounty hunter who was hired by a group of wealthy industrialists to track and capture the outlaw John Bly and his gang. Now, Yeah, the Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. is so much fun. I mean, if you guys know Bruce Campbell, I mean, you know everything he does is pretty much amazing. And so this show actually came about thanks to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which obviously is an amazing movie. What happened was the executives at Fox looked back at some old shows and found like a lot of them fell into kind of two genres, Westerns and science fiction, which gave them the idea to combine the two, which is what they did in Briscoe County. And they actually, so kind of tying some things together here, they actually used the old episodes of Maverick for inspiration on using humor in the genre for Briscoe County. So I give you the very last episode of Briscoe County Jr., High Treason Part 2, which aired on May 22nd, 1994, much to my chagrin. Good show. Check it out.
Pretty cool show, man. Can't
Sure
go wrong
is.
with Bruce Campbell.
Nope.
All right, guys. So for my television offerings, it's May 8th, 1984. We're going to settle in to watch a couple episodes of Happy Days. Now, this is a two-part episode called Passages, Part 1 and Part 2, the 249th and 250th episode of Happy Days. Now, these two episodes, of course, serve as the series finale for the legendary TV show, although 5 more previously unaired episodes would air out of continuity later on NBC during the summer of 1984. So Happy Days was ranked in the top 5 Nielsen ratings for 3 straight years, peaking at number 1 for the 1976-77 season. But by 1984, the show had plummeted to number 63 in the ratings. The series finale was filmed at the famous Stage 19 Paramount Pictures Studios where they filmed Happy Days, the same stage believed to be haunted by Lucille Ball's wardrobe lady. In the series finale, Joni says yes when Chachi finally pops the question. Then the entire gang gets together one last time to prepare for the wedding. Fonzie becomes a dad, but not for the reason you think. He decides to adopt Danny, his little brother from the Big Brother Big Sisters program. Now, Potsy and Ralph are the only 2 characters from the original cast who didn't attend Joni and Chachi's wedding. Excuse me. Naturally, Fonzie was Chachi's best man at the wedding. And one kind of like final awkward moment for Happy Days, if there wasn't enough of those on the show already, in his toast to the newlyweds, Howard mentions that both of our children are married now, he says, completely forgetting about their oldest son, Chuck. Now, if you remember, Richie was married by phone in season 8 after Ron Howard left the show. But, you know, they totally forgets about Chuck. What happened to him, man? So it's the series finale of Happy Days, May 1984. Just a landmark moment in television history. All right, Joe Findlay, it is time for your ruling on the television round. What you got?
Oh man, it's an interesting one. Mark, right off the bat with our dear friends at Happy Days. Did you know there was a show where a guy actually jumped over a shark, and it was the best one? No,
it was Happy Days.
I know, man. Just that one loses me only because it was such a fizzle at the end. It was such a weird, like nobody was there. It's like showing up late to a party and all the people you know from the party, like it's a friend of a friend type thing, and all the people you know have already gone home, and now you're just stuck with all the, like, who are all these people? That's what that one was. Yep. And sorry. What else do we got? We got Man Crush and the $10,000 Pyramid. Great show, tons of legs, just like you said. Now it's $100,000 or whatever it is. It's a fun game. I like a fun, simple game show. It's a good background thing to have on, you know. I like Jeopardy and things where you got to be smart and you got to have a skill set, but it's also just fun to watch ones like that sometimes. And then Briscoe County Jr., another good one. I love Bruce Campbell. The creator behind the show, like you said, he did Indiana Jones. He did Tales from the Crypt. He did all sorts of cool stuff. I wasn't in love with that show, and again, it just kind of, it was on and it was gone. It's close. I think I'm going to have to go with Man Crush and the $10,000 Pyramid. It's just because it's still on the air, and I do love that kind of story when, something kind of gets crapped on by the networks because of low ratings, and then somebody has a little more faith and it comes in, scoops it up, and it becomes a big deal. So that's why I go there.
Sweet. So we got something else to give away then. I got some movies, and I'll let you guys choose. Whoever wins this, you can pick from one of these. So let me just throw these up to the camera real quick, show you guys what we got here. To the Andy Sedaris fans, we got Do or Die with Pat Morita. Classic. We got Opportunity Knocks. These are from Mill Creek. It's like they're, again, my camera is keying out the greens, but very cool retro Blu-ray set. We got Legend of Billie Jean. Nothing needs to be said about that one. Do I need to say anything about Chuck Norris?
Nailed it.
We got Double Team.
Wow.
I
Solid
love it
one.
so much.
All those are
great
from
name.
Mill Creek, so make sure you guys go to millcreek.com. Got Hard Bodies.
Yeah.
Again, that's from Mill Creek. And the last one we
There's
got here,
no
another
disconnect.
Andy Sedaris. This one's Guns. So we'll let you guys choose whatever one you want. We'll do that for the final couple rounds. So go ahead and put a number in between 1 and 20. Mark, can you write one down and just hold up that paper?
All right, come on, guys. Give us some numbers. You know numbers, right? Is this
Mark's got he's got the paper. Hold that up,
Yeah.
Mark. All right. Dude.
Nobody had put down a new number because
Yeah,
only
put down
one
a new
person had
number
guessed.
because Mark is adult and showed
Oh,
everybody
it's
what
not
his
a-
answer was.
Not a
I
one
said to hold
G.
up the number.
Mm-hmm. Crap.
Oh, you're not watching the YouTube? All right,
No.
Mark's got a new number. Mark,
All
hold
right.
up the paper
Yeah,
without
choose
showing the
everybody
number.
choose a new number from here.
Yeah, choose a new number right now.
Yeah. Put it to your head like Karnak and send it out to the people.
All right, so we got a 14. That's our first new number. So if you're looking at the chat, we'll start there.
There it is.
Power Glove, we got 14, 16. Tom thinks he's doing the same number again.
Can I give it up to Power Glove, who said, "Can we choose a new number?" We said yes, and then they chose the same number.
Stacy, she's trying it again. She got number 7. That would make it easy if she won again. Put them in the same package. Who else we got?
Got a 9.
Eric. Eric, what's up, man? Eric's got a number 9. That'll be fun to send to Canada. And anybody else? Anybody? And we got Dave Schultz coming in with the number 1. I think that's it. Let's go.
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Mark,
Reveal.
go ahead and show the number.
4.
Number 4. Dave Schultz. Oh, wait, no. Oh, shit. It's between, they're both 3 apart. All right. So now we're coming into the problem.
Now it's the real toss off.
Now it's a real toss off. So between Stacy and Dave,
All right.
pick a number between 1 and 10.
Stacy and Dave.
Stacy and Dave. Mark, just throw down another number
Okay.
and just post those in the chat. Just Stacy and Dave.
Who picks 4?
Stacy and Dave, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, looking at
Stacy's
an
got
abacus?
hers. I want to give a lot of love to Eric though, because he's kind of the
Oh,
big celebrity on the show right now because his name is just always on that banner because YouTube doesn't update their subs fast enough.
It looks like Dave's defaulting. He's not
Oh.
even putting anything in. So
Stacy wins.
go ahead. And
Oh, there
number
it is.
9. Oh, she
Number
would have
9.
won anyway. Stacy, that works out perfect. In that email that or message you're going to send me, let me know what movie you want, and I'll throw that in the same box. See, look at that. You skipped your cooking show or whatever it is that you wanted to watch, and you won 2 things.
Dave Schultz,
Just don't eat the
number
Pez.
14, is the best
you're
number
off
between
anyway.
1 and 10 that I've ever seen.
All right, Man Crusher, you pick up another point, and we're heading into our first 2-point round. You have control of the board. We have a couple of categories left. Where are we going?
First off, Dave, that was very nice of you. I think you did that on purpose. He knew he did that on purpose. All right, so let's go. Let's do music. Let's finish up on hot products, which hardly ever happens. Everyone jams that in the beginning or in the middle. So let's finish up with hot products. But let's go May 20th, 1974. And when I first drew May of 1974, I was actually very excited to look at what albums came out for the month. And I apologize, Joe, if I came out too quickly on that one, but it is what it is. We're going music. All right. There were several great albums that came out, but surprisingly, there was no juggernauts that spoke to me. And we've talked about this in the past. If something in music doesn't speak to you, how can you pick it? However, there were some solid singles that were released that month. And the single I decided to go with, it was released on May 20th. The thing is, when I think of this song, I think of George Michael. The rendition of this song, it's timeless, but I remember seeing old George do an epic version of this song, and that always stuck in my head. But in addition to going 2 times platinum in the United States, this particular song, it came off of an album that went #1 in most places around the globe, the Billboard 200 in the US, the UK album charts, Canada, Australia, and it even hit #5 on the Yugoslav album charts, so you know that it's good. That said, the single itself, it sold 1 million copies in the US alone. And it would climb to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1974, but it could never top John Denver's Stranglehold at the top of the slot there with Annie's song. So it only got to #2. However, the duet of this song with George Michael, which was released in 1991, that would basically hit #1 everywhere in the world. Literally, like every country, it was #1. Like Zimbabwe, like everywhere is #1. So as I like to say on this show, Dave Schultz, this one has legs, not to mention being immortalized during Live Aid with Sir Elton John playing on piano, arguably one of the biggest pop duets of the time, or of the 80s at that time. But speaking of collaborations, the chorus on this hit single, it includes Bruce Johnson and Carl Wilson of the Beach Boys. They originally planned on having Brian Wilson, Dusty Springfield, and Cat Stevens, among others, but apparently they all sucked during the studio sessions and they were never used. And I guess everybody has a bad day though, because that included Elton John. He also was pretty terrible in the studio, and he initially hated how the song sounded. The first time that they played him the rough cut of the song, he called it, and I quote, a load of shit. And he almost tossed it out as a demo track. So you want more legs, Dave Schultz? This one's for you. You want more legs? Matt Sorum, the drummer of Guns N' Roses for Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, he said this song right here, huge influence behind the drums on mega hit November Rain and Don't Cry from those 2 albums, and Estranged. So it's pretty good legs right there. You got double legs. I give you Sir Elton John's hit single, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. This is the first single that came off his album Caribou, May 1974.
Fantastic. And that's just a great song. You know, one of the greats there from Elton John. All right, Drew Zachman, what did you bring for the music round?
Well, I actually have a whole album, not just one song, but I'll tell you what else I have. I got more rhymes than I got gray hairs, and that's a lot because I got my share. Now, there's a couple routes I could have gone with this pick here. 1994, on the whole, was an amazing year for music, and the month of May was no exception. I'm picking this album since I listened to the living shit out of it, and I still throw it on pretty often. Not only that, I think parts of it have also aged well, and it's actually hit me a little bit differently as an adult as opposed to a 14-year-old jackass like I was. But this album barely made the criteria as it was released on May 31st, 1994. Gave us 4 singles, 2 of which are widely popular. Overall, these guys have just under 6 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and their most streamed song is actually off this album, having been streamed over 202 million times. And while I love that song, it is a little bit overplayed, but the video for that is insanely iconic. And that song I'm talking about, Sabotage, and the album I'm talking about is Ill Communication from our good friends from New York, the Beastie Boys. Now, this album is included in a book, 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die, and I would strongly agree with that. This album hit number 1 on the US Billboard 200. This album's perfect. I mean, I don't skip tracks on this one. It's so good. Besides the big singles, right? Sabotage, and Sure Shot. Sure Shot, by the way, is amazing. Other singles, Root Down, Get It Together, also great. Get It Together is one of my favorites on the album. B-Boys Make It With the Freak Freak, such a great song, as is Flute Loop. I mentioned earlier, right? This album hits a little differently as an adult. And one track in particular is The Update, which I liked when I was younger, but now it's actually my favorite track on the album. So just do yourself a favor and give it a listen. Rest in peace, MCA. Also with rap, right? There's a lot of talk about, in general, rap as, the big picture here. There's a lot of talk about like degrading women, things like that. But in Sure Shot, right? MCA says, I want to say a little something that's long overdue. The disrespect to women has got to be through. To all the mothers and sisters and wives and friends, I want to offer my love and respect till the end. So these guys, they stuck to their morals. Love the Beasties. Also, happy Mother's Day. Call your moms. But yeah, so I'm going with Ill Communication from the Beastie Boys.
Wonderful. Fantastic album. I love that album. The instrumentals on that are just,
everything's good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Start to finish. Not a bad second on the entire album. All right, guys. So for my music selection, I have a single, not a whole album. Much like Man Crush, I brought just one song, but it's a big one. On May 16th, 1984, Prince released his very first single, With the Revolution, although Prince actually played all the instruments on this song himself. And for a song that has like no bass in it, it has one of the most unforgettable grooves of all time. The single was released a month ahead of its album and 2 months ahead of the major motion picture that it was written for. I give you a song that Rolling Stone lists at number 52 in its 500 greatest songs of all time. And it's the second highest song on that list from the entire 1980s, next to The Message by Grandmaster Flash. It's my music selection. I give you When Doves Cry. Prince wrote the song at request of Purple Rain director Albert Magnoli, who was actually looking for a song to serve for a specific scene in the movie. Lyrically, however, though, a Prince biographer has gone on to say that it was most likely inspired by Susan Moonsey. She was a member of Vanity Six that Prince had an on and off again affair with. So it was Prince's first Billboard Hot 100 single. It stayed at number 1 for 5 weeks, from July 7th, 84, all the way through August 4th of 84. And then it was ranked number 1 on the Hot 100 Billboard year-end Top 100 Singles of 1984. So Prince actually used his trusty L1 drum machine to create the unique percussion sound, which is actually now on display. So Man Crush, when he took your trip a couple of years ago to Paisley Park, you would have seen this. That's what he created When Doves Cry on. It was included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. The B-side was the cult favorite 17 Days, which was originally intended for Apollonia 6's self-entitled album. But much like I told you a couple of weeks ago with Kiss, Prince wrote this one and then tried to give it away, then decided, I'm just going to keep it for myself. So Purple Rain would go on to sell 13 million copies in the U.S., be one of the top 30 best-selling albums of all time. It's When Doves Cry, May 1984. All right,
also
Joe
did not
Findlay.
hit number 1.
Huh?
I said also did not hit number 1.
Yep.
Because of who?
It was Springsteen, right?
I think it was Wham.
Was it Wham?
Yeah. Old GM.
All right, Joe Findlay, let's hear your verdict on the music round.
Oh man, this has been the best round so far. All really good picks. Man Crush, I'm going to jump on you for a second because I feel like you were trying to confuse me a lot. You were showing me a lot of different decades. You're like, hey, remember this song in the 90s? It was great. It was a big hit in the 90s with somebody else. Oh, hey, in the 80s, it was this. And then you started playing off to a different judge Dave's not judging. Daddy's
Joe,
judging.
let me ask you a question. If the song was written in 1974
Yeah.
and the guy re-released it with somebody else in 1991,
Yeah.
the same song,
Yeah.
how's that? That confused you?
No, I just say you were hitting a lot of dates and all that stuff all at once, but you were doing a little dance for me. But it's a great pick. I'm not gonna deny that by any means. But
Don't let the sun go down. I mean,
I won't. But the but the other two picks, man, Prince, we hit a lot on here. We have Prince and Princess Di. But there's a reason, because Prince is a hit factory, and When Doves Cry was one of my like favorite songs growing up. I absolutely love that song. And one of my favorite albums growing up was Ill Communication. I hurt right now because I feel like I'm kicking a part of me in the soul if I pick one over the other. But I don't know, man. The little dude in me, the little teenage dude, is saying pick Ill Communication and give Drew some points right now. So 2 points goes to Drew.
All right.
90s.
Yeah, I can't
That
argue with
the music
that.
still applies now, man. I'm telling you. Listen
It
to that one
does.
song, The Update. So good.
No, I listen to that album all the time, Drew, and I can't argue with that. Now, if you want to bring the Beastie Boys every time as a pick, I'm gonna have a hard time dinging you for that one.
I have to see if they wrote a song about Nelson Mandela. I don't know if they have.
No, but Nelson Mandela wrote one about the Beastie Boys. It was weird.
when he was in jail in 1972.
Same
Did
rhyme
Sinbad do
scheme.
that?
Yeah. Probably.
All right, Drew Zachman, we're heading into the hot products round. You have control of the board, so that means you get to decide if you want to go first or if you want to defer to one of us.
I'll go first. I'll kick off hot products here. All right. Now, up until May of 1994, in order to view a movie at home, you had to either wait for it to come on TV or cable, or have a box that gave you cable, which I didn't, but I know someone who did. But either that, or you could own the VHS, or there's a couple other ways, but usually like waiting for it to come out on TV or like VHS, they were the more popular options at that time. Or you could do what I did and just wait till it comes on TV and then record it on VHS, which I think made up like 97% of our VHS collection. But I feel like we also should have bought stock in TDK and Kodak in the late 80s. But May of 1994, that was all about to change. Two monster companies, Sony and Philips, you may have heard of them, decided to join forces for the betterment of humanity and develop a new kind of high-density medium. That's right, high-density medium. CDs are already out, but they weren't big enough to hold a high-quality resolution for an entire movie. Although 14-year-old Drew was probably looking at 16-bit boobs back then, but whatever. Anyway, Sony and Philips joined forces to work on this medium, some kind of disc for digital video, if you will, or perhaps a digital video disc that could be used. And this digital video disc would hold 7 times the amount of data of a CD, 4.7 gig on one side compared to 680 megabytes for a CD. And I'm talking about, of course, DVDs. And this would eventually be released in Japan on November 1st, 1996, and then the United States of America on March 24th, 1997. But what I'm talking about is the initial concepts of creating the DVD. So that happened in May of 1994.
Wow. All right, guys. So I'll go next. My hot product is actually an album. It's a compilation album. It was an album that was released May 8th of 1984. Yeah, and it sold over 25 million copies globally. That's why I'm considering this one a definite hot product. So since it sold that many copies, that means that about 1 in every 312 people on the planet own a copy of this album. And it's an album that was ranked number 46 on Rolling Stone's list of 500 greatest albums of all time. And it's the album that first introduced me to this artist and why it's so special. I remember hearing it for the first time my junior year in high school in the students' lounge. And shortly thereafter, I went out and I purchased my very own copy of this. And it's an album that's still in my rotation today. It's the best-selling reggae album of all time. I give you Legend by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Sold over 15 million copies in the United States. It's the 17th best-selling album overall in the United Kingdom, and it holds the distinction of being the second longest charting album in the history of Billboard magazine, only surpassed by Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, all the hits are here on this one. This Is Love, No Woman, No Cry, You Could Be Loved, Three Little Birds, Buffalo Soldier, Get Up, Stand Up, Stir It Up. And then over on side 2, we have One Love, I Shot the Sheriff, Waiting in Vain, Redemption Song, Satisfy My Soul, Exodus, and Jamming. Now, if you picked up the cassette version of this album, you got 2 extra songs, Punky Reggae Party and Easy Skanking. Not quite sure what that one was about. Island record executive Dave Robertson, who compiled the tracks for the album, actually said that the track list was deliberately selected to appeal to a white audience. And some of the more political songs from Bob Marley were left off the track listing. So if you're looking for mass market appeal to secular progressive America, you don't go and include songs that invoke the collective guilt over the slave trade. So Legend was released in 2014, yet again in celebration of its 30th anniversary. And to this date, into the date of this episode, the world has been without Bob Marley for 40 years as he died of cancer on May 11th, 1981. So I give you Legend by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Just an absolutely epic compilation album, and was a definite hot product for me all through high school. All right, Man Crush, what did you bring for the hot products round?
All right, so let's go May 1st, 1974. Listen, when it comes to the early 70s, it's extremely difficult to find a hot product. And after doing the 70s for the last year, we figured out like what to explore to potentially find something. Yet sometimes you just come up empty. But this month I didn't, and I think both of my competitors here did. So I'm going to throw out my product here. So after I exhausted all of my, my searching and everything, I decided to look at some magazines that came out for the month. And now I wouldn't usually jump to magazines because you have to find something that stands out. And like, what exactly makes this magazine more special than another magazine that came out that month? So after lengthy research, I decided to go with May 1974 issues of Playboy. And obviously, like any Playboy magazine is going to hold a special place in somebody's heart. But what makes this particular Playboy, like what makes it stand out? And I'll be honest, initially I was drawn to the cover because obviously it's smut, so who wouldn't? But the cover features a shot of a scantily clad, got Marsha Kay, and she's wearing a very, very, very sheer bra that's 110% see-through. I wish I knew where this was being sold in 1974 because she might as well have been topless. Whatever. That's all well and good, right? But special, probably not that special. So then you open up the magazine and you look at the interviews. Okay, so we have an interview from the beloved Hammerin' Hank Aaron. Okay, that's cool, but like not uber special. Keep in mind, we talked about this earlier. This was released at the height of Watergate. So you also have a Q&A with Woodward and Bernstein about how they broke the Watergate story. Again, it's pretty important, a super important event in U.S. history, but I'm sure everybody was covering this at the time. Then you get to Playmate of the Month, Marilyn Lang. And let me just sum this up with one word. Whoa. That's it.
Whoa.
Marilyn is so stunning. She eventually becomes the Playmate of the Year for 1975. So this is where the extensive research comes in. if you Google, you guys are in the chat right now, Google an image of Marilyn Lang, May of 1974, and you will see what I saw. Marilyn is a very well-endowed woman. So well-endowed. She wore a 39F bra. F. 39F. So I went through every Playmate of the Year in the existence of Playboy, and Miss Lang has the largest breasts to ever hold that accolade at a 39F.
I've seen bigger.
So I give you Playboy May of 1974 for the low price of $1, which is around $5.37 in 2021.
How many yen?
A lot.
Unbelievable, painstaking research. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Oh, that must have been tough research for Man Crush.
I just started in the 50s and go all the way to 2020.
Let me research Playboy.
Countless hours of research, of digging in carpal tunnel. To,
Yes.
you know,
It's like Eric
typing.
just said the stat. He just said stats don't lie. So there you go.
all right, Joe Findlay, we're gonna go over to you. What is your verdict for the hot products round?
Okay. Sorry, I googled some images and now I'm flat.
He's doing research.
Yeah. No, I have Marsha K in front of my face right now, but that's neither here nor there. Let's just
Oh, you didn't even get to Marilyn Lang yet?
Oh, I did, but I went back
Oh.
just because I felt like the cover. I'm judging based on cover right now.
She
Joe,
couldn't
did
last
you-
that long.
Did you say you were looking at pictures of Marsha Clark?
Oh, if only.
Marsha Brady.
I did say I hope I said Marsha K. But either way, hey, it's all hot products, baby. But anyways, I'm sorry. So we'll start with Drew and the DVD. I'm hesitant with this one because it was the concept of the product, not the product itself. Therefore, it wasn't selling yet. Therefore, it
Gotta
couldn't
start
have been
somewhere,
hot.
buddy.
I understand.
It was
I understand. I
the
used
technology
it
was very hot.
Oh, it was very hot. Very hot. That digital versatile disc, baby.
That's right.
But I look at the next two. I'm going to throw you under the bus for a second, Man Crush, because I know these two aren't watching the chat, and somebody was trash talking you two a lot during during your picks. But he has a point, though. Okay, so the music, it's a hot album. It's basically the best of Bob Marley without actually being a best of album. Doesn't get better than that. Full disclosure on me, my first reggae album was the best of Inner Circle.
Oh wow!
Because
They're
when
gonna
I
make you
was,
sweat, man.
that's
La,
actually
la, 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 la.
precisely the reason why I got that album, because we were up at a cottage and there was like a little like community area and we were hanging out with the kids and all these kids kept playing that song over and over again. And I ended up getting, it was one of the first 4 CDs I ever bought. And maybe I'll reveal the other ones another time.
Much like these folks here on YouTube. I've been watching you.
Yeah. So a lot of that, but it's the music round, but it's also the hot products round. I get that it's a hot product. I go from there and then I go to Man Crush and
You go
Man
to
Crush
me or you went
wins.
to the picture?
I'm giving it to the Playboy, not just because of the picture I can't stop staring at, but the it's an interesting one because again, the difficulty finding stuff like this, especially in the 70s, is tough. But then to find one that had a lot of, because it's supposed to be the gentleman's magazine and these interviews and stuff like that. And there was a lot of things of cultural importance all kind of going on at the same time, all falling into the magazine as well, that, even the more stern businessman might have picked up, and said, I'll tear this cover off so I don't see this woman's breast and I'll pray for her later, but I got to find out what Woodward and Bernstein had to say. So I'm going to go with that for my hot product for my win. And that gives Man Crush the victory.
That's like what you do. That's like your edging is the Woodward and Bernstein. Hey, I have a great idea because I think both their picks were fantastic. They're just,
really
I didn't necessarily see them fitting with Hot Products. However,
Yeah.
I think it's fair. Let's all go to the wild card round. Throw out a quick wild card. Let Joe pick it and see what happens. And then after that, we'll give away the rest of the shit that I have sitting over here.
I do like
Fantastic.
hearing people's wild cards.
All right, guys. So for my wild card, I had another album. Believe it or not, and I had to try to slide this one in. I was going to pick it for my music round, but I decided to go with Dove's Cry. Dove's Cry. This is the debut, the self-titled first album of the Fat Boys. This is the Fat Boys' first album, May 29th, 1984. It had Jailhouse Rap, Stick 'em Up, Can You Feel It, Fat Boys, The Human Beatbox. You can't go wrong with the Fat Boys. We lost Prince Marky D not too long ago. Rest in peace. And I was a huge fan of the Fat Boys growing up, so had to go with the debut album. That's what I had for wild card. Drew Zachman, what did you bring for wild card?
So for mine, also I did an album, also self-titled album, but it's not known as that. Basically, this album is known by the color of the album, and I was torn on this and the other album that I wound up going with, the Beastie Boys, but I feel like I like the Beastie Boys and Ill Communication much more than this album, although this album is fantastic too. But May 10th, 1994 is the greatest hits from Nelson Mandela. But now it is the Blue Album from Weezer. So that one, Weezer, I don't know if I need to say much about it. I mean, Say It Ain't So has been streamed over 240 million times on Spotify. Buddy Holly over 186 million times. These guys have over 10 million monthly listeners. I mean, when people talk about albums from the 90s, the Weezer Blue Album is usually one of the ones they bring up. So that was my wild card.
Awesome. One of the best produced albums I've ever heard, thanks to Rick Ocasek of the Cars.
That's right. Great album.
Man Crush, you won this game, but what did you have for the wild card round?
All right, since you guys both came with music, let's go movies. I got a group of kids in Brooklyn. They form a gang, and from this moment on, they do everything together, which makes their life easier. But at the same time, now they face new problems, and it just so happens to be the big screen debut of Sylvester Stallone. And not only that, but Henry Winkler was also in this movie, also his first major role. And he bases Fonzie's performance, or Fonzie's character, off of the performance of Stallone's character, Stanley Roselio. So this is like a double banger. And it's the movie Lords of Flatbush.
Wow. Deep cut.
That's a funny name.
It's the 70s, bro.
All right, Joe Findlay. I know this wasn't an official round, but if you had to make a ruling on the wild card round, where would you have gone?
I mean, look at her.
Does she have a flat bush?
I kept her covered up, though. Hopefully nothing slipped. But I think if the video version, I will blur it if it did. But I think we're okay. It's interesting. I always love this round. Obviously, a little bit more when there's some more stakes behind it. But having two music and then having a movies one, we're comparing apples and oranges. I think I would lean. And again, I think that this actually has a distinct advantage because kind of my coming of age is right around the year that he's talking about. And I would go with Weezer and Drew in this round, only because it's like, it is my frame of reference and it's where I'm coming up. Like, I know the Fat Boys and the Fat Boys are cool, but, and Lords of Flatbush I've seen, but, kind of like, if I'm looking for a Sylvester Stallone thing, I'd be looking for more of a breakout than that. But all good choices. I just lean. I go with my adolescence as per that.
If I came with Kitty and Stud's Party, that would have been more aligned.
Maybe tonight. I don't know, but But yeah, so I'd go with Drew with this round, but it really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Sorry.
Oh wait. Oh wait, wrong remote. Let's do another giveaway. But look at that, I'm the winner. Like my lights. Can you see the lights? I'm 12. All right, so you guys saw the movies that we got here.
This chair's bedazzled.
Let's do another one. So actually, you know what? So I can pull your movie out. Stacy, can you tell me which one you want from the last round? You had Guns by Andy Sedaris. You got Do or Die,
Double
Andy
Team.
Sedaris. Double Team, Opportunity
Yeah.
Knocks, Legend of Billie Jean, Silent Rage, Hard Bodies. Which one would be all you? And I'll pull that one out.
I feel the pressure on her because it feels like a judgment is going to be put down on her when she makes.
We're all
a choice.
watching. We're all watching.
You can't make this one secret. You got to tell me now.
Do or Die,
What's
she
Do or
says.
Die? Very nice.
Well done.
You're going to enjoy that one. So if you win again, I would suggest to go with the other Andy Sedaris, Guns. But let's do the same thing. Let's do it. Drew, do you have a pen and paper in front of you?
I can easily get one.
All right, let's switch it up and have Drew write down a number. Don't put your numbers down just yet. This will be the last one we'll do for the night. I got so much shit to give away, though. It's just the shipping that sucks. But
Yeah.
All right, what are we doing? 1
1 to 20
again?
Drew.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
write it down and just hold up the paper folded.
We're not judging you, Stacy. Don't worry. You took a Pat Morita joint. It's
All
gonna
right.
be great.
Drew's got the number, so post
like
your
to
numbers in
smoke
the
a Pat
chat right
Morita
now. A
joint.
number between 1 and 20.
All right.
We're
Let's
like
see what.
slightly delayed. So.
There's a bit of a delay, which I'm not sure why. I fixed all the other
Got
issues.
the
that we had.
number 9. Eric with the number 9. We got a number 7. We got a number 13.
I don't want anybody obviously giving out where they live on here, but I really hope one of them's far because I'm not paying for shipping.
We got a number 1. Is that all we got? Let's give it a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drew, show the number. What do you got?
Can't see it. Move it to
Number
you.
7.
7.
Power Glove 79. Congratulations, man. What do you want? Which one?
No pressure, but pick Guns.
Yeah, pick the movie now.
No.
Oh wait, Tom, you came in late anyway, but you didn't get it, bro. It was number 7.
Sorry, Tom.
That must be
Still love
embarrassing.
you.
Next time, we got more crap to give away.
Yeah, there's a slight delay. We apologize for that. And I think. I mean, this is just
Double
me.
Team.
There we go. Nice. Because if you're not watching a movie that stars Dennis Rodman, do you think that's why he befriended Kim Jong-un? He wanted to recapture the magic that Double Team brought him in the first. Because he likes his movies.
I think Kim Jong-un was just trying to get into the NWO, and Dennis Rodman was an NWO member, so
I
just
feel
wanna
like
know who cuts
Virgil
his
would have been
hair.
a cheaper choice.
Dave said he was trying his prices right by going with his $1 bids.
You know what movie I liked? It's a total guilty pleasure. Simon Says.
Oh my
ever see
god!
that?
Yes.
It is horrible, but
Yeah.
I love watching it though. It's just it's terribly amazing.
Do you not love the times when Hollywood's just like, let's give this person a chance, and they get a few movies in a row, and then all of a sudden, it's just gone. Not even straight to video. It's just no, you don't do movies anymore.
Yeah, you're actually done. Please stop making movies.
You go home. You'll rebound,
Well, that he did.
right? All righty.
I'll
Oh,
wrap
Power
this-
Glove is Trevor, so that makes shit
Oh,
really
there we
easy.
go.
I think I still have your address, so that makes it super simple. Stacy, you're the only one I don't have your address, so just shoot that over in Messenger, and we'll get that sent out. But do us a favor before you guys leave, if you haven't already. Here's the annoying pitch to you guys: hit like, drop an actual comment, or just chat, just write some bullshit in the comments.
Just write Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, you can write that and hit subscribe. And we'll do this again in 2 weeks. I think we're gonna do it, right, Joe?
Sounds good.
You can't do it next week, and we need Joe the producer. And in 2 weeks, I think that would be Krista Makes from Less Than Jake.
Sweet.
Excellent. Well,
That's nice.
congratulations again to Man Crush, who pulled out another victory on this one. But if you've missed an episode, you can always go over to duelingdecades.com. It is now your one-stop shop for everything on Dueling Decades. We have all the episodes are there, video and audio. You can subscribe to the show on any platform of your choice. So in the meantime, Duelers, we're going to bid you a peace, love, light, and a joy. Have a grateful week, everyone. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in live on the live stream.
That was a lot of fun. All right. Shutting off recordings.
Stop record.
Yep. Stop record.
Good crowd out there today.
Are we still on or are we off?
Well, it's still streaming. I can turn it off if you want.
Yeah, you
All right. Bye, everybody. We love you.